Hey, this is Thunder from Booredatwork.com, and today we'll be doing our versus battle between the iPad 2 and the iPad 1. So basically, big brother versus little brother, or newer brother, or however you want to call it. Anyway, we're going to look at what the similarities are, and differences, and if there's really any difference, or if there's something major, or what have you. So we'll go through all that stuff. But let's quickly take a look. You can see in the surface, the first thing that's very clear that's different is that the iPad 2 has a front-facing camera, which is VGA iPad 1 does not. You can also see, I don't know if you guys can actually see the depth there, but just putting them side to side, you can see how thick the iPad 2 is compared to the iPad 1. So I'm actually going to stand the iPad 1 and the iPad 2 together and show you, in that fashion. So you can see that this has a flat, smooth bottom, and this has kind of like the little belly bottom that it does have here. The buttons are still the same, and the port is slightly different just because of the design, but it's still the same typical Apple buttons you have there on both sides. Looking at it from all angles, you can see how thick. This is the iPad 2, and this is the iPad 1, this is the iPad 2. So let's go ahead and look at the operating system. I know that's not really nice to do that, but look at the both operating systems as we turn both devices on. I need to switch this back. Slide open. Slide open. So, of note, they said the iPad 2 is supposed to be faster and smooth to run. Going through it does feel a little bit faster, but it's literally I would say it's not noticeable. It's not that much noticeable. It basically, the OS from the iPad 1 moves pretty fast, even though it's a single core processor and this is dual core processor, but it moves pretty fast. Things move smoothly, so I don't think there's any much difference there. Well, you do have a couple of things that are different on the software side is that there is no FaceTime. Of course, you have FaceTime because you have a front-facing camera, and you don't have FaceTime because there is no camera on this device. There's no camera at the back here, so basically you can't take pictures, which is the big difference with the iPad 2 to the iPad 1. And everything else feels the same software-wise. You do have other software, of course, that are very specific to the iPad 2 when it comes to FaceTime and things like that. Although you can download, I'm not sure, but I think you can download iMovie on the iPad 1 and still use it functionally anyway. Overall, I would say yes, the iPad 2 is thinner and also has a front-facing camera, and the iPad 1 doesn't, but the similarities between the two devices in terms of functionality is pretty much the same. It still runs the same iOS software. I think it's both now 4.3, and also the only difference is there's a camera and it's thinner. So if you're looking for lighter weight, front-facing camera, you video chat a lot, boom, works for you. If you really don't care, and because also prices have dropped, this is just as good. Battery life is pretty much around the same. This is 10 hours, this is about 8. 2 hours, I would say big deal. So overall, I think they're pretty much similar in all respects, except the camera, and that all depends on if you video chat or not. So it's one of those things where you can look at, and of course, it does come in a white version, the iPad 2. So there you have it. If you guys have any questions, any comments, let us know. That is our little versus take for the day between the iPad 1 and iPad 2. And of course, people like to know if there's a winner. In my book, there isn't, because now you have an iPad in different ranges at different prices for all sorts of people. There you go. So this is Thunder from Booredatwork saying thank you, and always enjoy entertainment.